class, and welcome to week 4 of ECS 100 Child Growth and Development. So this week we're going to conclude Module 2 on Theoretical Perspectives, Genetics, Birth, and Newborns. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the week 4 instructions and then follow the video through what you need to do in the module. So first thing that we need to be aware of is that we're going to be covering 2 chapters this week. So I think it's actually the only week of the course that we have 2 chapters instead of 1. So we're going to be looking at chapters 3 and 4 in your Feldman text. Also know that I've got PowerPoints from both. So there's a PowerPoint on chapter 3, which is the start of life. So we're looking at prenatal development. And under that, I have a couple more videos and things to help support the information that you're learning. So there's an introductory video on genetics. And I know genetics for me is really hard to understand. It's a complex science. And so I really like to kind of break that down for you. So a really nice introductory video on genetics. I also have a video on raising a child with Down syndrome, which has to do with genetic abnormalities during pregnancy, well actually at conception. And I have another video on Turner syndrome and parenting a child with Turner syndrome. So there's a lecture, in addition, a PowerPoint for you on birth and the newborn infant. And then I want you to see a short video on the use of acne medication and how that affects the fetus during pregnancy, which is a teratogen. So after you go through all the information, we're going to be using our My Virtual Child Parenting group this time. And I'm going to ask for you to give an overview of the 4 parenting styles. So you're actually going to be selecting a parenting style this week. And this is really important because whatever parenting style you are assigned through consensus in your group is the parenting style you'll use the entire time you're raising your baby. So you're going to want to make sure that you make choices for the parenting of your virtual baby that would be the same as somebody who was parenting a certain way. So this week in the parenting, or virtual child parenting groups, we're going to be discussing those parenting styles, and then you must, within the group, decide who's going to be what parenting style. So just know that if there's more than 4 people in the group, there's 4 parenting styles, so all 4 must be identified by somebody. You can't have a repeater unless there's 5 people in the group. So if there's 5 people in the group, somebody else can repeat one of the parenting styles, but not authoritative. So authoritative is the one that everybody wants to get, and it's actually the one that we teach in terms of a parallel of educating young children. So you only have 1 person in a group that has authoritative. So post and respond in your My Virtual Child Parenting group by Thursday, February 14th. So if you're doing something special for the holiday, for Valentine's Day, make sure that you plan accordingly. Do it before, proactively versus being late. So posting late to a parenting group is very noticeable. That means that I can see that you didn't do it much easier than I can see that you're not posting in a timely manner in the all group discussion. So you want to be very timely with that. You're going to respond back, and actually I need to change this. It should say to all group members no later than Sunday, February 17th at midnight. So all group members get a response. So it's also baby time. Super exciting week. You're all going to have your virtual babies. So I have a video instruction on how to do that in the module. And then lastly, we're going to finish our module 2 with a small quiz. And I like to call them funtivities. So I believe in classical conditioning, which we talked about in chapter 2. I believe in that, and I know that a lot of us have negative associations with tests and quizzes, so I'm going to call them funtivities from now on, just for you guys. We're going to go ahead and move through the module. So here's our PowerPoint on genetics. So I'm going to go ahead and go through what the learning objectives are for that. Never fails. As soon as I bring it up, it comes up. Okay, so over the course of this chapter, I want you to be able to explain what the roles of genes are and chromosomes when we have human life. Also, the basics of genetics. What is that? And how is genetic information transmitted through conception? So also, I want you to be able to map the human genome, which is your actual social security number, if you will, of your body. Everybody has their own unique genome, unless of course you are an identical twin. And if you are an identical twin, then you would have the same genome as your sibling. So I also want you to be able to tell me about what is genetic counseling, how is that used. I want you to be able to tell me about genetic and environmental factors and how that interacts with the development of who we are and our traits. And I also want you to be able to tell me about research studies and how genetic and environmental factors develop in terms of the research studies. So the other thing you're going to learn about is describing the influence of genetics and how that influences environmental traits, things like weight, intelligence, personality. What is the role of nature versus nurture in terms of psychological disorders? And the last one is how do genes influence your environment? So moving forward, I did have a question while I'm prompting this video. I did have a couple questions come up from students where they were a little confused about why I'm going over those outcomes and what you're supposed to do with them. You're not supposed to do anything with them except make sure that you know what they are upon conclusion of the chapter. So basically you would be able to tell me, and not officially, you're not submitting anything for points, but through the outcome of your discussion boards, questions that I might ask you there, and the funtivities, aka quizzes as well. So you want to make sure that you're competent in understanding that material. So this video is the Genetics 101, and it is 3 minutes, very short, so you're going to go ahead and want to watch that. And I'm going to stop it because I don't want it to play on me on accident. I have to get out of here. And notice that since the video icon wasn't here, I could just click up on the title and it still opened. So continuing, here's a short video on raising a child with Down syndrome. Actually, it's not short, I lied, it's 28 minutes. So you are welcome to watch that. And then continuing. Next was a shorter video on genetic disorders, Turner syndrome. And again, video's not showing, so we're going to double click here. And that video is about 4 minutes. Continuing again, you're going to see that we have our Chapter 4 PowerPoint. So if I go ahead and bring that up, I want to go through what the outcomes are, what I want to make sure that you have an understanding of upon conclusion of, did it come up? It sure did. There we go. So the first thing you're going to want to be able to do is what's the labor process? How do people actually have babies when it comes down to actually having the baby? What typically happens to the neonate in the moments immediately following birth? So how does the baby respond? What happens in the first 3 minutes after they're born? How would you compare different birthing processes and what those choices look like for parents? And then also we're going to look at complications of birth. So causes, effects, treatments, cesarean deliveries. Are they necessary? We're also going to talk about infant mortality and interesting enough, how do different countries rate? So how many more babies die, at birth than other countries? And in fact, the United States isn't as good as you think it is compared to other countries. Postpartum depression, really important one there. What are physical and sensory capabilities of the newborn? And what do they learn? Newborns are extremely aware and intelligent. And also, how would you describe how newborns respond to others? So continuing, here is a video on fetal development. It's 6 minutes. I want you to go ahead and watch that. Then I have another video clicking through on the effects of acne medication. This one's 10 minutes. Almost finished here, folks. Here is an overview of the 4 parenting styles. So you can watch this and you can figure out what those parenting styles are. I also have a reading assignment for you out of chapter 10, I believe, in your text, so that you would be informed on which ones you're going to choose. Well, you only get to choose one, actually. And then we have the My Virtual Child Parenting Group number 2. This is where you would log in when it's open on February 10th, and you would have a conversation with your group members on which parenting style you would like to have, define it, and then over the course of the week, actually solidify who's going to be doing what parenting style. Also, time to have our baby. So here's the instructional video of how to have your virtual baby. If only it was so easy when we had our babies in real life. I have some information about the assignment here. Also, I want to draw your attention to making sure that you're going to the website to have your baby. I'm air quoting. Also, here's a student flyer. Oh, I need to update that. I'll go ahead and do that. It'll magically say Spring 19 when you log in. And then also here's the grading rubric on how I will grade this assignment moving forward. And lastly, we have our funtivity. So you can take the quiz, 5 questions. It is timed. You have 90 minutes. Once you start, you cannot restart it. or stop it. You have to continue. It's forced completion, and you're welcome to use your notes. I'm fine with that. So make sure you read those questions carefully. All right. Any questions you have about the assignment, the chapters, what you're supposed to do this week, please don't hesitate to let me know. You can reach me at troki@hancockcollege.edu.